Hey, margaritas on the beach? Not quite. Okay, we're not having margaritas, or we're not on the beach. That's the thing. Rusty Arnold, Dirk Nannis. Gents, thanks very much for agreeing to do this. First of all, by the way, it's like just a chewing of the cud, you know.
Well, what you've given us here is comfy chairs, and that's the most important part.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
And a rooftop.
And a rooftop? No, it's not quite the roof. Is it the roof? We are on the roof. I didn't even realize that. Rusty Arnold, how's Sri Lanka going?
Not too good. Eyeing our first win tomorrow, though.
Okay, yeah. As we sit here, by the way, Australia are playing Pakistan. Currently, this is like right now. It's in the background somewhere. You might hear some of that. And what we're trying to do is talk about how the week has gone, as I did last week at the end of week number 1 of Cricket World Cup. What do you reckon? Week 2, your highlight of week number 2.
The underdogs getting victories.
All right.
Afghanistan getting a win, Netherlands getting a win. They're the highlights for me. Also managing to spend the week, on a personal note, spending the week up in Dharamshala. That was pretty cool. But I think tournaments like this need the underdogs, they need upsets, they need something out of the ordinary to happen to set the tournament alight, and I think that's what's happened this week, is that you've actually got the ability to turn your TV on and not know what's going to happen. And I think the first week was a little bit predictable in that front, that you kind of knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. What's your highlight of the week?
It's been an easy week for me personally.
Uh-huh.
Oh, 4 days off.
Uh-huh.
Me time. Just getting my thoughts together, watching everything that's been going on, and I've been enjoying the upsets, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 upsets in the week. It's a lot.
3 upsets in the week. You see,
I've got
yeah.
two.
So this is yeah. So anyone who doesn't know Russell Arnold, yeah, this is kind of what you expect, right? Now you have to fill us in on what
3 upsets in 3 days, actually.
Okay, so
It's a little too much to handle. I needed that time.
Okay, upset number 1, Afghanistan versus England.
England, yeah.
Okay. Upset number 2, Netherlands versus South Africa. Yes. Give us your upset number 3.
Australia beating Sri Lanka. I'm upset.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, I think we should move swiftly along. I'll move us to what might be our second subject, which is
So is it 3 or 2?
no, that you keep whatever you want. You go with whichever one you want. You go with whichever one you want. India, Pakistan. The expectation and the actual occurrence. Tell me what you thought on the day.
Well, there's a lot of anticipation about that game all the time, and you're looking for that big one. But strangely, over a period of time, you come to note that when the hype's built up, the game really doesn't live up to it. It started off really well, but then halfway through the game, through the first innings itself, it became a one-sided affair and took the fizz out for me. But got to give credit to India. They seem a strong team, and they seem like they can come from anywhere. They seem to have those options, and they're looking powerful.
Your thoughts on?
Exactly the same. I think a lot of the games of the tournament so far have been 75 over affairs, and this one was it's almost a 25 over affair, wasn't it? You go halfway through that innings, and then suddenly Pakistan start losing wickets, and then it's
non-event.
Bit of a non-event, which is a shame because it's so built up. You get that, you get a massive crowd, and you think that it's going to be the game of the tournament. We're still waiting for the game of the tournament, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
What's the game of the tournament?
So far, I would say that it would have been Sri Lanka, Pakistan. I think that was in Hyderabad, actually, if I remember right, where What did they chase down?
344.
344. And I suppose it kind of speaks to a Sri Lankan side that's struggling with personnel and yeah, I think someone's trying to get in somewhere. Yeah. Or someone's in the way and they're trying to get out somewhere with their car. Never mind that. Don't know if you heard that horn. But yeah, Sri Lanka struggling with the bowling, struggling with injuries, so even when they do put a really good batting performance together, it's a bit of a struggle to still get over the line. And for me, I thought that was a good game. I thought Sri Lanka might have done it, actually. Had enough runs on the board.
Yeah, 344 I thought was enough, even with the depleted bowling attack. But of course, you have to field well and support the bowlers, which is not exactly happening. But Sri Lanka's collapses and being clumsy has been, I've been seeing that for a while. Even in the qualifiers, we've been seeing that. But a little bit of spin magic here and there has given them those victories.
Yeah.
But coming into the World Cup against the better teams, you're not going to survive like that. And that's what we're seeing, even with the batting, Pommie. Last 20 overs, they scored just 110. Last 10 was 60 and lost 5 wickets. So, have you really capitalized on a strong position? Is the other question. So, in between, it did take the fizz out for me. So, I couldn't really say that's the game of the tournament for me. For me, of course, Afghanistan beating England and the way they played in that one, and watching the Dharamshala game where Dirk was very loud, understandably so. But, those were the real thrilling ones for me. So far,
yeah. And I suppose I've got to qualify my statement. And I think that Afghanistan, England was a one-sided affair. And when I talk of game of the tournament, I mean a contest that's all the way through.
Yes.
And in the Sri Lanka-Pakistan game, it was a contest pretty much all the way through. And in the end, some will say Pakistan got there easy, but you still got to bat really well all the way through to get to 345. Yeah, you know what I mean? With England, they just looked like they were out of it. It looked more a case of halfway through their innings and they're trying to chase, that it'd be a surprise if they got over the line more than a surprise if they didn't get over the line. So similar scenario with South Africa. They got 100 for 5 or whatever it was, and as soon as they're 100 for 5 and the Netherlands had managed to extricate themselves from a difficult position where they were 4 or 5 down for not many, and they managed what is a decent score in 43 overs, you just thought, well, you can't go 2 or 3 down here, because if you do, it's going to be a bit of a struggle, and that's kind of how it unfolded, isn't it?
They were 7 for 140, and Scott Edwards and Van der Merwe came out and put on some. Van der Merwe just did that with his bat and managed
double all the time.
Managed to get some runs, and then they were gifted 245.
Yeah.
And then the Dutch just had to bowl reasonably well. Because of
smart.
Swinging around. Yeah, you get smart.
They're
discipline.
smart, weren't they?
What they're good at is discipline. They do simple things really well. They're very well drilled. They're very well led in that tactically they don't miss. So I think a lot of teams in the tournament are going to sit up and notice now, because they realise that, right, this is a group that pound for pound we're better, but if we're off our game, the Dutch are going to win.
Yeah, and it makes it harder for the Dutch, because everyone now pays attention. It's not a case of, we're going to just win this one. So from here, if you're in the Netherlands side, it's not a case of you're going to win. They're going to be coming at you. So you're going to be, have to be even better. 4 out of 4 for 2 sides. Are these 2 sides comfortably the best sides? Russell Arnold, New Zealand, looking good, looking like they have options. And India, as you said, able to come at you from all sides, because there's a big injury though. Hardik Pandya got injured and is not taking part in their next game. What does that do?
Well, I think they do have their bases covered, but balancing the team will be a bit of a challenge without Hardik there. Just as India want to coming and winning from different areas, they were 3 down against Australia in difficult batting conditions. Still, they won that comfortably, and I think New Zealand are also in that situation where even when they find themselves under pressure, they have players to stand up. Yesterday, to a certain extent, at 108 for 4 against Afghanistan, that was a tricky situation.
Yeah.
but a wonderful partnership saw them through, absorbed that pressure, and then got themselves into a strong position. They, both teams seem brilliant in the field, and they're plucking things from all over the place, and hence they seem way above the others. Australia struggling somewhat to find the exact balance and how they want to play. But with England, I feel they're playing a high risk game, and that can come off. That might let them down, and we're seeing that it's putting them into trouble.
What do you mean by high risk? You mean attack? Explain. You explain.
Well, it's all about attack. Everyone's coming hard at the ball, and in the moment there's something in the pitch, it's going to give the opposition that opportunity, and good teams will take those opportunities. Let's say in New Zealand and then in India. If you saw the game against the first game, England were going hard, but New Zealand never went away. They'll keep chipping away, and then suddenly you see they picked up the wickets and they are well on top. So with the tournament going deeper into it, pitches could dry up because they can get tired now, and I think the balls will hold up a bit more. There'll be a bit of turn, and playing that hard, high-risk game can be your downfall.
It seems as though at the moment India can win with 10 men.
Right.
It just seems for me, they're way in front.
And they've been tested as well.
Yeah.
They've been tested, but they handled it really well.
They haven't had easy games.
No.
And it's funny how we've changed our tune as soon as South Africa lose a game, because they were incredible for those first few games.
Yeah.
But
First two games.
Yeah. So all of a sudden everyone's changed their tune, but they're still a very good side.
Right.
Maybe that's a banana skin that they've missed, but yeah.
You still got them up there? You still got them up there?
I think I've still got them up there. I still feel like Australia are a little off the boil. New Zealand are excellent because they just do the things well. They don't make mistakes.
Yeah. A team that is greater than the sum of their parts. I love that phrase because it is not in disrespect to their players, but it's kind of, as you look at the picture and each of them walk through the room, they don't walk through and you go, and you think, they're going to wipe you out. No. You think, next team will think, we've got a chance against these lot. And then together, you've got nil chance.
How good's Henry and Bolt? They're unbelievable with the ball.
I mean, Santner, Bolt, Henry, my goodness, how good's he been? He's been fabulous. And then throw in Ferguson in there. Then they kind of mix and match. I was talking about during that game, actually, how if you turn up in Chennai and you're a leg spinner in any side and you're playing limited overs cricket in a game that requires wickets in the middle of the game, you're going to say, I'm going to play here. But Ish Sodhi, they just leave on the side of the field, say, no, we think we're good because we can bowl Ravindra and we can bowl Phillips bowling off spin and we can get a bit of Mitchell. And they've just got like everything, little bits of this and a little bit of that, and they're good to go. So, yeah, they look good. Tell me, why are teams reluctant to bat first?
I don't know. I think everyone feels like the dew is going to come in at night time, and it just hasn't really happened.
No.
I haven't done a game where there's been significant dew. Maybe Chennai there was a little bit, but nothing crazy. I can understand that Australia-India game looked really abrasive, like the wicket was going to deteriorate. It's not deteriorating at all. So, the decision to bat there was sort of a bit of an anomaly in that regard. I don't know. Is there evidence that that they're doing it right? I don't think there is.
Right.
Is there evidence? Get the runs on the board, but lots of teams have been able to chase down. Other than the Afghan England game, I haven't really seen the balls playing that turn.
Later.
Yes, not a lot has happened, and hence I reckon with all the cricket that's been played here, the T20 mindset of knowing the target and going for it.
Maybe that's it.
That's keeping the teams going on the chase front.
Yeah. Do you think it's right?
Well, if that's their strength.
Yeah, and I like that actually. I like if that's your strength. I mean, did an Afghanistan.
Unless the pitch itself dictates that.
Totally does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So did an Afghanistan-New Zealand game. Skipper won the toss. Afghanistan skipper said we thought about it, but we thought due later, and so we will field first. No due at the end of the game. None whatsoever at Chennai.
It was funny listening to Pat Cummins as well at the toss going, I've got absolutely no idea. I can't read these pictures. I got no idea.
Yeah. And you know what? It's kind of gone lose the toss, win the game.
Yeah.
Because the guy chose the wrong thing.
Well, what I'm saying is there is a little bit of a change come later. Say 8:30. That's about the time you bowl 25, 30 overs where it starts sliding on a bit.
But that's late in the game, isn't it?
By that time, you have to make your inroads.
So
break the backbone of the opposition, which you can because the ball tends to swing around a bit and give you something. You've got to hit them hard, I feel.
Final subject, guys, because, on the beach and all of that.
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, and bedtime and everything. Umpires, decisions, unhappy players.
If it's out, it's out. I think it's ridiculous that players get upset when
it goes against them.
When it goes against them and the evidence says it's out.
Yeah.
If it's out, it's out. Don't kick up a fuss. Sometimes they go your way, sometimes they don't. You know what? They're so much better today than they were 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago.
The rub of the green.
Yeah.
That's what it's known in other words.
Yeah.
But you take it when it happens to other players and you celebrate it.
Yeah.
But when it happens
Spot
to
on.
you, oh my God.
Okay, I said last thing. Actually, I've got one more thing. Player of the week. Have we got player of the week? Last week, I'll tell you who it was last week. Last week, it was Rachin Ravindra because he absolutely hit the World Cup running. And yes, Conway played fantastically, but we know about Conway and we know what he does. But Rachin Ravindra surprised, I think, absolutely everybody. Maybe except the New Zealanders, because they kind of knew what they were doing. Have we got a player of the week for week number 2? Anyone?
Scott Edwards for me.
Oh, I like it.
The Dutch was struggling when he came out and played one-handed sweeps.
I like it. Come on then.
Yeah, but
You're going to have to better that.
okay, so that was a great effort, but it's a single game of the week. Can you get an of the week if you've just done one game?
How many have they played in the week?
I don't know.
Did they play 2?
I don't know, just played one.
They
They're
played
playing
just
tomorrow.
one.
They've had a
Playing
long time
tomorrow.
off.
Yeah.
And
So
tomorrow he'll be sweeping a lot, I'll tell you, even the reverse.
Yeah, so he played just once and his impact was huge. They beat South Africa. So I'm not arguing with
Because
Rusty
I thought of the
here.
Afghans, but they didn't back up really.
Yeah, because they played a couple of games, right?
Yeah,
they
played a
played the one
couple.
against England where they won, and then they played against New Zealand, where
Australia played a couple, but Sri Lanka played one. Australia's still playing.
Yeah, today
But
they're playing
those
today.
who performed the other day are not really.
Has Jadu got a man of the match performance yet?
He hasn't, but he's been fabulous.
He's been
How good?
How good is he?
Oh, but like,
Can you kind of have a almost man of the match in the first week and almost man of the match of the second, marry them up and say you're man
I'm
of
with
the-
you there. I think so. I'm with you. I think I think I understand where you're coming from, and I think in a team that's filled with stars, I can understand why you'd go with him. And
Warner today would make it pretty compelling case, getting 150.
yeah, we'll talk about
Is that
today's
next
with
week?
that game. Yeah,
Is
that
that
game's
next week?
not done, so we'll
Okay.
talk about that next week. After another week, this will be part of. It's like that India game, right? That was on when I was doing this last week, and that's what he said. India, Pakistan. What happened in that game? It's our plight as we do the World Cup, and we go from week to week. Guys, thanks.
Thanks, Pommie.
Thanks for this.
Cheers.
It's good to remember the week.
It is good to kind of just think about what happened in the week. We'll catch you next time. I got something else actually. If I let you. On the evidence of this week, who's making the semis?
India, New Zealand.
Yep.
I still think South Africa are going to.
Yeah. And
I reckon Australia will.
that's based on half a game that's in the background.
Yeah, but I reckon they're gonna. I think they've played pretty poorly. I don't think they're going to play much
worse than that.
Worse than what they've played so far.
Is that half the heart there?
Yeah. Where does he live? Oh, Melbourne. Who's going to make it? You're going to say Australia because he lives in Sydney.
So we're ditching England.
Oh, that's hard. Yeah, so I still think England.
I'll go with England.
Yeah.
What's Joffre doing here?
Joffre's here. That's also for next week. We got to go. The beach and all of that. Drinks.
I'm going to bed.
No, we've got to see the end of the game. We got to go. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time, maybe. You join us? I'm sure you join us. Bye.